Jimmy,
Hello, hello.
how we doing, my friend?
I'm good, I'm good. Oh, are you able to see me? Is it? Oh, there you
It's
go. The
see
cover is
that.
on.
Long time no speak, my friend.
Yeah, man, you grew a mustache.
Yeah, I'm debating whether to shave it off actually because I think
Wow,
it
man,
looks
it's
like
fit.
I think it looks okay once I've got the sort of whisker bits like twisted
Right.
up and waxed. But it's a nightmare when it's not styled and it just looks awful and I can't be asked to style it every day. So I'll probably hang on to it for a little bit longer, but I might get rid of it. Um,
Nice.
Mate, firstly, thank you for just carving out the time to do this, buddy. Did Jen mention that we might use this for like something on the website in the future, if that was okay with you?
She only said that I think she only said that I actually probably didn't read it properly, but she only said it was just like a catch-up call for
Oh,
today.
okay. Okay, man. Well, look, what I do, so yeah, so it's kind of a catch-up call, and also I just wanted to sort of if things are going well for you, if it was okay with you, and I'll give you the recording to review beforehand anyway. But if it was okay with you to just put it on the website at some point in the future, not sure when, just with our other client success stories or client testimonials. But you can make that decision sort of later on. But yeah, the first thing is, mate, like how are things going? Where are you up to on the program? And yeah, what's going on with you?
I'm still on the electrical drawing program, but it's because I'm a slow note taker, like as you can see, like my notes. I'm a
Okay.
slow like note taker and stuff. So like and plus like I like to like not memorize it, but kind of I write it once and then I look at it again, make sure I understood before I move to the next module. So that's why it's like you're probably wondering like, oh, why is he not in the second module? I'm like, well, it's because I'm taking my time.
That's all right, man. I mean, you go at your own pace. That's, it's designed to go at your own pace. There's no pressure, man. So yeah, you go however's most comfortable for you. But where are you then in terms of the first module? Are you halfway
I
through,
think
three-quarters of the way?
I think I'm like 75%. Like I'm almost there. If I like
Okay.
when I did it when I did it, I'm almost there. Like I'm almost finished with the thing. So uh yeah, no, it's really, really good. It's more like intuitive than I thought.
That's good to hear. And is what do you think's helped you the most with it so far, would you say? Like compared to where you were at like before the program? What's 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 it improved upon?
Um I think that the fact that hard to say. It's more like the fact that I could visually see when you're explaining some like on the diagrams, let's say you're explaining the boilers. Well, you first you go through the theory of what a boiler is and stuff like that, and then after that you go through the kind of how is it wired, and then how is it wired on the project, and that makes me understand like okay, now I'm supposed to understand that how everything works on this project. Whereas some other like more like institutional like university and stuff, they just give you the project and they're like, well, try to, it's wired like this, but like, I'm not gonna tell you why it's wired like that. Whereas you kind of explain it and it makes more sense to me. Oh, there's a reason why it's wired like that. And I'm pretty sure like in when I go forward into the design aspect, I could understand more like the actual best practices. But yeah, it's like it's simplified, especially for a guy who's like in who's more mechanical. It's hard to
Yeah.
understand like electrical stuff. So it's like it's very like simplified, like this is how it's wired and stuff like that. And it's like it's more easier for me to understand as from a mechanical side, to understand how the whole electromechanical world works.
Well, mate, I'm originally from a mechanical background, so it's probably our kind of mechanical
Yeah.
foundation is has influenced the way that this has been taught. So that's good to hear, man. What just remind me, Jimmy, what was the reason for joining the program in the first place? Like, what were you struggling with? What problem were you trying to solve?
The main reason was I wanted to unlock that sort of the electrical aspect of like to gain more knowledge on the electrical aspect because um the more I get into my career, the more I'm starting to realize that it's automation and sort of where I want to go to is you have to understand the whole gist of electrical. So that's where I realized where I need to sort of not switch, but just unlock that side so I could understand both worlds.
So, like, becoming more multi-skilled
Yeah,
as such.
multi-skilled.
Okay. And remind me again, mate, what is it, the role that you're doing at the moment?
Currently, I'm a laboratory technician in aviation. So what I
Okay.
do is a bunch of I create um, specialized tooling through rapid prototyping, if I could say it like that.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see where I work here. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
S- And so doing that then, what things were coming up for you that you were perhaps struggling with or a little bit hesitant with, lacking a bit of confidence in? Like, was there something specifically that you're doing on a day to day that you needed help with, or was it just to generally broaden your horizons to then, increase your career prospects?
I do want to branch out towards the electrical mechanical side, especially more electrical. Right now in my job, I'm in my department, I'm engineering support. So I support engineering through multiple aspects of what they need. And I'm basically the technician that makes it happen.
What are you doing specifically, mate?
So right now I make tooling or I make like it's
Like
like a as per
machining?
order machining, 3D printing, wiring, stuff like that, retrofit, like a lot of like it's very like broad. It's
Yeah,
basically like
because
the engineer comes to me and says, I want this to happen. And I say, okay, it's gonna cost you this much, this much. We'll make it happen,
so like
so very
getting
broad.
gran yeah, because I think you're one of the only, well, the only guy I think in the program that focuses on this specifically. Like a lot of people are, electrical contractors, mechanical, heating, HVAC, building control, that kind of thing. Manufacturing. Would
Yeah.
you say you're more involved with manufacturing? Like what's
Um,
section industry or sector would you say you're in? I know you said aerospace, but
Aerospace, but not necessarily manufacturing, more R&D and deployment. So
okay, and you said
deployment is more like
prototyping.
you do all the commissioning and stuff like that. In my department, in because it's kind of like moving around all the time. In my department, it's very the hard the company in itself is very hardware, so everything's electronics. Everything runs on electromechanics. So we do flight simulators, and they run on a lot of avionics and electromechanics. So they
Right.
depend on that. My department specializes in um, kind of unlocking that side of commissioning and troubleshooting those hardware. So that's where I
Right.
want to come in into that world, and I can broaden my statement. Right now, I'm more mechanical, so I do all the 3D printing and stuff. But a lot of times, a lot of other technicians, when they come to me, or engineers, when they make a request to make something happen, it's more electrical. I understand the basis, but if I can have a conversation that we can understand, it's better for me um, to have that knowledge so that we can come to like a closed a, a kind of closed solution.
Yeah. So is has was it you came through the program to help you, if I'm hearing things right, like communicate and understand what's being asked of you from different departments so you can then produce it, install it, commission it. Am I on the
Yeah,
right lines there?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So, right, I had a few projects where I installed like stuff like making wiring harnesses and install limit switches for we call them drawbridge.
Yeah.
They're elevators that go up and down for to go in and out of the supply simulator. And I was in charge of wiring the whole aspect. So with the course, I was able to understand and do proper wiring and do proper, you know, um, kind of troubleshooting also and kind of understanding the whole system. Uh, Whereas before, I would have probably went like, well, I'll try my best.
That's good to know, man. So you feel like well, is it if we had to like pinpoint the things that you were struggling with before the program, then it would be communicating on an electrical controls level with
Exactly,
perhaps other departments and understanding what they're asking for. And secondly, now you're actually able to, in terms of the hands-on, understand on a deeper level, like the servicing, the maintenance, the installation, the commissioning of those systems and fault finding those systems.
exactly.
Is there anything
It's
else
pretty
there?
much. Sorry.
Well, is it just was it those two key things really that you were looking for help with?
Pretty much just to understand the electronics, understand like how to understand a system as a whole and how to, eventually do some troubleshooting and commissioning. That's sort of what I'm good at is doing troubleshooting, but it's the understanding of the whole electrical and whole how a system is wired up and how a system works is where I'm a little bit like behind. But with the program, I was able to understand more of how a system works and where I can pinpoint stuff to do eventually do troubleshooting or commissioning a project.
Cool, gotcha, man. And yeah,
And
you're just
uh, yeah,
no, go on, man.
eventually I would like to eventually branch out and do my own thing. That's kind of where like I would like to gain my skill set in this company and then eventually, branch out, be independent and work in my
But
own sort of domain, own my own business, etc.
yeah, in and doing what specifically?
I really want to get into the automation business more or like just um I've been looking at like since like we're working on a lot of us building management systems, it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting um how that affects a lot of companies. And I'm seeing a potential that I would like to probably go into eventually. I'm not sure yet, but it's an idea. I always throw myself out there like I've never seen that before on my perspective beforehand.
When are you thinking about possibly making that move, Jimmy?
Maybe like maybe in a few years. I really want to
Yes.
like get into the grind and then once I'm more knowledgeable or maybe like if I go through a second company get more knowledge there in a more broader not broader but more specific
Yeah.
terms, then maybe once I get that knowledge I'll want to branch out.
And when you do finally branch out, what kind of stuff do you want to be doing? So the industry you're thinking about is like building management, building controls, right? But what is it you want to do specifically, like as someone who's self-employed in that industry?
Basically what I want to do is I just want to do my own thing. I want to work out, like working in big companies, I know you like also like working in big companies, you always answer to a lot of people, and it's hard to navigate in that domain. Sometimes it's quite challenging, especially when there's a lot of people ahead of like not ahead of you, but
Yeah.
on top of you. it's hard to like navigate, communicate. So that's where I just want to do the thing, and I want to be the person who manages my own thing. Uh, that's eventually
In
what,
term,
that's a lot of contractors, what like independent contractors, that's
yeah.
their like life stories. They just want to do their own thing.
Yeah, well, not have a boss to answer to and have like time freedom to pick and choose when and where and what they work on.
Yeah.
On the what they work on, what like do you want to do? I'm trying to get an understanding of like what actual work you want to do as an independent contractor. Like when you're there, like do you want to do service and maintenance? Do you want to do install? Do you want to do like full project delivery? Do you want to just do design? Do you want to do programming? Like what does that look like for you?
Um, eventually I do want to do the whole thing, but I do like doing servicing and installation. That's kind of my grind is when it's brand new, everything's nice. When it's servicing, it's a bit challenging, but it's fun. It's always fun, like troubleshooting. It's something that like every technician has an itch in their head. They're just like, I have to solve it, or else I won't
Yeah,
sleep at night, something like that,
yeah.
But those two aspects is what like drives my brain to, you know, do my work.
That because and it's the fault finding, is it, that
Yeah,
gets your brain going? That's where you get the satisfaction.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy, man, because that was I don't know how you feel about this, but I used to hate that. When I was a service maintenance engineer and I used to be called to go and fix a breakdown, I'd be like, oh God, like driving in the car, like, oh God, like I'm running through loads of scenarios in my head, like what could it be? What could it be? What can I try replacing before
Mhm.
I understood controls and schematics and like how systems are designed and built. It was just like, oh, you just try you when you're on site, you're just throwing mud at the wall and you're trying to see what sticks and you're just like replacing whole boards or components and you're just hoping that it works. And it was just stressful and made me feel very anxious. But now, like, I really enjoy that. I'm like, bring it on, because I I once you understand like the control side, it's just like a logical process of like it makes sense to start here and then we move until we sort of isolate the fault, and then it's like, well, it's this is what's causing the issue, and it's
Yeah,
just it's a logical approach in terms of your thinking, and it's really satisfying. Like going through that, tick that off, that's okay. Ticked off. Oh, this one, there's something here. And then this might then
yeah,
branch off down this way, or it might branch off. So it's very like logical and it's very
yeah,
satisfying going through that. Is that something that you've encountered?
yeah. It's actually in my the recent project I worked on where I had to wire up the drawbridges. We had to do that an exact sort of method where we had to do step by step because basically what I was doing was I was doing a retrofit. So I had to replace a wiring harness and I had to replace limit switches and I had to build my own box.
You built a panel.
However, it's like a tiny panel. It's basically like a soundboard and a light on top.
Oh,
But
okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's not like a full DIN rail panel like all nice, but
Okay.
it's a little like access panel where you could
Yeah.
press a button that goes up and down. So basically, I had to do that project. Um, and as soon as I installed it, nothing worked. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but oh yeah, yeah. What happened was I forgot to plug in one of the connectors. I forgot to wire in a an additional wire, but that's because the drawing I was given to make that panel was revised like 10 times. So by the time I made a like 10 boxes when I was making that project, and I had to always ask the engineer like, hey, like, is this the actual drawing? Like, oh no, this is we need to revise this drawing and stuff like that. So by the time I got to my 10th box, the first box was different from the 10th box.
Right.
So
Yeah.
when I install it, why is it not happening? And then I check all the, we did all the, we took the fluke and we did all the diagnosis. Right? What the hell? What's going on? Why is nothing working? And then as soon as I open the box, well, there's one wire missing. So it was
That's
like
good,
that
man.
step by step that helped us like resolve
Yeah.
that. And yeah, it was pretty fun when you reach that like, well, that's the problem.
Yeah, because it's just like it's once you got that knowledge, it's just a matter of time until you fault find it. And if your knowledge of systems is more complete, then it just helps you identify the best place to start. And
Exactly.
identifying the best place to start, that's what like kind of reduce the time. And that's what, when you get really deep into it, that's what makes like really good engineers in my experience. Is like, but here's the issue, no idea really where to start, but you kind of make you look at the schematics, you just experience working on systems, you make an educated guess of where to start, and then you start going down that route, and then it leads you to the next thing. And mate, I just love it. I absolutely love
Yeah.
that.
That's what drives a lot of, I mean, like I'm with like 10 other technicians that get deployed all over the world, and like their job is to troubleshoot. Their job is to make it happen. And like that's honestly like all of them, they say is like that's what drives them to their career basically, is the
Yeah,
fault finding. And like as soon as you find, you're like, yeah.
yeah. And you mentioned earlier, is that where you're headed career wise, like in the short term?
In the short term, I would like, yeah, that's where I'm heading, in the more of the servicing slash installation side. Eventually, I have plans with the company to eventually move to another department so I can do those type of things.
What would the title be of that specific role?
Um, right now, the company is it's very niche. They have like very niche like titles. But what I would be is a deployment technician in control force motion.
Say that
It's
again.
a deployment technician in control force motion.
I
So
missed that
that's
last
like
bit. And control what?
force motion. So in
Force
a
motion.
simulator, yeah.
Okay.
So in a simulator, there's the controls. So we call them EMM here. Basically, they're the big PLC panels that run the whole machine. And you have the force side. So all the forces, the actuators that
Yeah.
bend the sim so you have feedback when you're flying. And motion, well, yeah, motion force is like pretty much in the same department. So that's currently what my technicians are doing, is they travel around the world. They basically troubleshoot the machine at the client's area with that. But they have a solid knowledge of how electromechanical systems work, because everything's
Mm,
run by mechanical systems.
yeah. So it's kind of like a service control system engineer. How would you
Kind of, yeah.
summarize
It's
that?
Yeah, because engineers here in Canada, mostly engineers usually just do the programming part, or they do the sign off. But
Yeah.
technicians here, they do all the actual troubleshooting aspect. The only time in this company where um a engineer would do something of a commissioning job is if there was something wrong in the code, and they'd have to validate it with like a multimeter and stuff like that.
Right.
But usually 90% of the time it's technicians that do all the labor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think it's slightly different terminology over here in the UK, but yeah, it's sort of similar thing. Do you feel like, I mean, you've only scratched the surface of the program, but do you feel like the program is enabling you to move towards that career that you mentioned you want to move towards?
Yeah, it's definitely moving me forward. It's definitely making me think stuff in the ways I did not know how to. how things work. So it makes more sense now that when I actually see the component on the production floor on the test sites, I'm like, oh well, I know what that does now. For years before, as a mechanical technician, if you were to ask me what a relay was, I'd be like, well, yes. But right now, it's helping me a lot to unlock the the understanding of how a whole system works. Like,
And so you invest in this program like financially and time, like off your own back, not looking for the support of your employer. What, mate, what made you do that rather than looking for support from your employer?
in terms of this industry, it's sort of challenging to get training. You get training all the time here, but it's sort of like if you want to do like your own academics or your own your own training to become a better technician or to get a certification, it's kind of challenging to get that in this industry or in this company. Uh, Maybe other companies are different, but in my current employment, it's kind of challenging to do that. And I really, really wanted to expand my horizon to do controls and automation and all the electrical systems. So I pulled the trigger and I said, yeah, why not? Let's go for it.
You did. Were you a
Yeah.
little bit hesitant at all?
For sure it was scary. Like I didn't know exactly what I was diving into. But as soon as I got into it, I started understanding stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, you know what, it's worth the price. It's worth the price paid.
Yeah, because it's a little bit scary, man. I get it, and investing in something that's online, and we've not actually met each other in person. It's a little
Mm.
bit daunting, right? I get that. But yeah, you feel like it's paying off.
Yeah, it's paying off. At least for me, it's like I take my time with it, but like in terms of like the knowledge that I learned and applied directly to my workplace, um, it's yeah, it's something that I find very important to the career path I want to lean
Yeah.
forward to.
If you had to pick like one or two things, and I know bearing in mind you're only kind of scratching the surface, but if you had to pick one or two things, what would you say's helped you the most so far?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I suppose like specific things within the program. Like if you had to pick a specific thing out, what would it be within the program that's probably helped you, that you feel has helped you the most?
Honestly, I think probably like the whole like understanding of a system, the whole like how you laid out the the project, and you say, well, we're gonna cover this, and this, and that aspect made me understand the like, oh, I know what I'm getting into. I know what the whole I don't understand the full project yet, but I know what I'm getting into, and I know what the components are inside, and with deeper understanding in each module, I'm able to know what each component does, and with that, now I can understand the full project. That aspect I found very intuitive.
Got it. Yeah. So sort of like the overview of the project, and then yeah, then getting into sort of like the initial details of the overview of the product at this starting point, and then sort of yeah,
Yeah,
giving you sort of clarity on that.
yeah. The fact that the course follows the project, whereas if it were um like any other like like a school, like it'd be like, well, this is your homework, work on relays, study on relays. Okay, but I don't really understand. Well, it's like, well, you'll understand eventually. Whereas this, it's like, well, this is where the relay is wired up. I'll explain to you what a relay does, and like this relay does this on this system, and then you'll see this how this affects this other system. it to me it makes more sense than rather saying, well, this is a relay. Okay, well, what does this relay do? Well,
Yeah,
it actuates stuff. Well, okay, well, um, can I see it happen, or like can I see it
yeah.
apply? Yeah. So
So
yeah, that's
see,
I like that aspect where it's like it follows the project. It makes more sense for me that than to just you know try to understand through my own research what a component does and then eventually apply it someday. Whereas we're
yeah.
following the project, so you have to understand it now to follow the project.
Yeah, so like how that specific component, for example, a relay, applies, how it works, but then how it applies immediately into a real world project.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that, mate, that is exactly how I felt. Like when I would YouTube, how does a relay work? Yeah, there's some great stuff out there on how a relay works, but what does that actually mean in terms of a control and automation project? Like, how does
Yeah.
that apply? Why are there, two poles sometimes? Why are there four poles sometimes? And what's happening on those different poles? It just unless you see that in a real project and how it applies and it's like a
Yeah.
tangible, like you can see the project
Yeah. Exactly.
overview like you're talking about and then the step-by-step process, it's like it doesn't, it's not tangible enough for me. Someone that's like a visual learner, hands-on, being on site, you've seen relays on site but you don't really know how they're working.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
What's the next steps, man, for you in terms of your career? Because you've not even looked at the career specialist stuff yet, have you?
I've looked at it a bit. I think in the
Okay.
other in the other like group, I think I looked at it a bit, and then I went, well, okay, I just want to learn this stuff right now. But I'll look at it eventually back. But in terms of what's next for me, I really want to like get into like get actually employed to do actual automation stuff or controls, instrumentation, not just of the commercial aspect, commercial industry where you do stuff on the production line,
Yeah.
or do servicing. My next step is eventually shifting towards that, um, so I could do it on the day to day.
Jimmy, seriously, man, I don't know whether you're aware, but through December and half of January, like I took all of that time off to focus on program development. So the whole career specialist in this new group has been completely
Yeah.
updated. Have you scratched the surface? Have you looked at some of the stuff in the new group under career specialist?
No, I haven't. I haven't looked at that. I haven't had the time to look at it
All right, man.
yet. So.
Well, I think when you have some time, just have a little dive around in that, like jump ahead, just so you can see, because well, I want you to get into it, so you can do that, so you can progress your career to the next stage, if that's what you want to do. Because I'm confident, mate, that's gonna help you do it. It's the same stuff but now packaged that enabled Mo to do it in like 7 weeks if this is something that you wanted to do quickly. I know you like
Yeah.
going through the technical stuff like in a methodical way till you understand it, which is definitely the right
Hmm.
approach. But yeah, the career stuff, man, I'm because yeah, I know you've mentioned you want to progress your career, so I'll be excited to see you go through that.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited too because it's like I almost found like a new purpose in life. I'm like, oh well, I could. Uh, no, mechanical is kind of becoming, a bit like everything's like becoming plateaued, or you need to be really, really, really like in the like weird areas to do something that's fun in mechanical, but like in electromechanical, like everyone uses electricity and everyone runs their hardware on electricity. So like you can touch so
Yeah.
much aspect without leaving um, the industry basically. So it's like that's why I like when I was introduced to that prior hand by my engineer, it really like got me the itch to eventually invest into this program and you know do something more in controls and automation to um, develop my career in that.
Well, mate, it's I'm really pleased to be a part of that because it sounds like it's yeah, you're enjoying it and you're getting through it. So yeah, keep it up, man. In terms of like where you're at the moment, like, is there anything that I can help with? Like, is there any questions you've got? Can I offer any assistance with where you're at the moment, man?
Not at the moment. I go through my notes slowly so that I try to understand fully the modules before I move to the next. So as of right now, no, I don't really have any questions right now to like in terms of the course. Like I don't really have any questions because I I go through it slowly.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, no, I'm as of the moment right now, I'm okay with the course.
Not bad. All right, mate. Well, you know where I am if you need me. We can jump on another call like this at any time. So yeah, mate. Jimmy, thank you for taking the time, mate. And yeah, keep in contact with how you get on.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right, man. Take it easy, bud.
See ya.